In today's video, how low does your body fat need to be to have a flat stomach?
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're gonna talk about how low your body fat percentage needs to be to have that flat stomach, to have that sexy abdominal region looking really good. And if you're interested in nutrition and training and philosophy, and heck, even psychological help in reaching your fitness goals, well, hit that subscribe button, because that's what I'm here to do for you guys on a daily basis. I'm answering your questions, and they come from my Instagram. So I'm gonna put my Instagram on the screen here. You send me the direct message, just like my friend did here. And well, I'm gonna try to answer them for you guys the best that I can. So let's start with today's question. I'm gonna read it here, and then we'll go over the topic. So I know to have a flatter stomach, you need to lower body fat percentage. Can you give me some tips on this? I'm 24-year-old female at about 23% body fat. How low do I need to get? My body tends to, unfortunately, naturally store most fat in my midsection. I have that stubborn pooch that won't go away. I've never had kids or anything. So, first of all, you're very young. So this is a very exciting time in your life. And I don't know if you're drinking alcohol, but I will say this. My first tip is that I noticed that drinking alcohol, consuming alcohol with any frequency, it tends to change my body composition, and it tends to do so in a manner where I notice it first in my stomach. A little bloating, a little fluffiness, don't have the crispness that I might usually have in my abdominal region. So assuming you're not doing a lot of drinking, that might be one way that you can kind of help that process along. But you nailed it. You said you need to have a lower body fat percentage. So I've heard a couple different analogies, and I'm gonna explain them here. The first being the pool analogy. So if we think of the abdominal body fat as the water at the bottom of the pool, well, we don't start to lose it until we get the water off the top of the pool, which would be all the rest of the fat on our body, okay? So for most of us, the lower abdominals, lower back, glutes, hips, this middle section of the body is where most of the body fat that is stubborn is going to reside. So with the pool theory in place, you just have to get the fat off. I've also heard the paper towel theory, which I thought was clever. So if you think of body fat as a roll of paper towel, well, the body fat you want to get off is at the bottom of that roll, and you just got to keep unrolling it until you get there. So what body fat percentage do we actually need to reach until we have a flat stomach? And this has an interesting connotation because it assumes that we're always going to have the same body fat percentage when that's visible. Maybe that's the case, but I feel like over the years, I've been able to keep a flatter stomach with more body fat. Now, that could just be my perception because I've added lean body mass, and that's where the indicator I think comes from. I've seen some research that talks about the fact that our body is not happy until we have the same body mass index. Therefore, when we diet and lose muscle, we're not gonna really be happy when we come back up the scale until we reach the same body mass. Now that mass can either be made up of more muscle, more body fat, okay? And sometimes we go through these really strict dieting phases where we're gonna lose lean body mass because you're under eating, you're over cardioing, you're not doing a lot of training, therefore you lose lean body mass. Then when you come out of that diet, you end up putting on more body fat and making your body composition worse. So there is the potential, at least in my mind, that theoretically you could keep a flatter stomach at a higher body fat percentage but have more lean body mass. I could be way off here. This is just a theory of mine because I've noticed over the years that I've been able to stay in a better body composition place even though I feel like my body fat is higher. So what body fat percentage would that be? Well, I think for women, when we start to see something in the 17 to 18% body fat range is when all the lines start to come out. We start to see some nice details. Now, a lot of the competitors, the female competitors that I work with, they get down close to that 10, 12, 8, 9, 10, 12% body fat percentages. I've had them get DEXA scans and I've seen this. But those are the elite. Those people are shredded. Striations throughout their body, certainly a very flat core, even to the point where they don't really have much fat on their lower bodies, okay? But to just have a flatter stomach, you know, I would guess, you know, maybe 4 or 5% on you is gonna make a big difference. And I know it feels like a long way to go. And sometimes I've said this as well, it's harder to get the body fat off than it is to keep it off, okay? Doing the cardio and lowering the calories to burn off that body fat and get rid of it Well, it's going to be a very difficult process, but once you reach that goal, to maintain it, you don't have to do as much cardio, okay? You just have to avoid putting body fat back on. What usually happens is that we go on a binge, on a rave session where we just overeat a couple times post-diet, and that is going to increase our fat storage very rapidly. I have had clients that have put on body fat quickly, and I've had clients that have been able to keep it off through this process. It all comes down to your goals, your determination, and a lot of it is going to come down to your genetics. Honestly, if you're this young and you have this goal, you know, what I find is that making fitness and training more a part of your lifestyle might just be the answer you need. If you're going into the gym a couple times a week and you're kind of tracking, well, if you take that more seriously, your body might prefer to be a little bit leaner. If you think of somebody that is an athlete, that is athletic, that is constantly moving, they maintain a leaner body composition generally. Why? Well, because it's better for their performance. Our brain and our body understands that this is necessary. You know, a lot of us can get caught up looking at the body composition of somebody that does CrossFit because they stay so lean year round. But guess what? Those people are training their asses off year round for those competitions, for regionals, for worlds. So they're staying that way because they're eating and training with a very specific purpose in mind. That is much like what bodybuilders do, what my athletes do. We have a very specific date in mind, so we train and do cardio and track our diets with that very specific goal. So it seems to me at your age, if this is your goal, you're just going to need to increase your output, increase the amount of activity that you're doing, so that maybe you don't have to starve yourself. I don't want to see you losing muscle at such a young age. You don't have any kids yet. You said yet. Seems to me you might want some in the future, and I think it's going to be important for you to be in good health to do that, you know, to have children, to be in a good hormonal place. I don't want you restricting calories just to reach your weight goal. Instead, change your body composition through changing your overall lifestyle, and that's going to have a much better impact for years to come. Now, if there are my men watching this channel and they want to know where the flat stomach comes in, I've seen mine tends to really tighten up around that 12%, 11% mark. Anything below that, and I start to really get some visible, noticeable abs. I do train my abs, you know, pretty much year round, a couple days a week. I keep them very tight through, you know, I'm a very active person physically playing sports. Nowadays, chasing my kids, but you get the idea. The core is being used a lot, and I think that's the most important part when it comes to having a flat stomach. It's developing the core. You got to have some muscle there. And then having enough body fat gone that you're, you know, seeing it and you're happy with it. So hopefully this explained everything as best I can. My tips for you are just to increase your fitness, be more diligent with your diet, and slowly lose the body fat. Don't try to lose it all in a week or a month. You know, lose, you know, a pound, pound and a half a week, and keep going and adjusting as you need. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I'm excited to get videos out this week, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.